With the introduction of multiplayer to Disney Dreamlight Valley, I've been so excited to build a welcome center in my valley. So that's exactly what I did. Without further ado, let's get on with it. Hello friends, and welcome to my channel. As soon as I got the Valley Visit Station from Vanellope and Disney Dreamlight Valley, my wheels started turning with ideas on how I was going to incorporate it into a build. I immediately knew I was going to place it in the Glade of Trust, mostly because that has been the biome that I've been focusing on finishing, but also because I thought the colors would fit very well with some of the other items that I used in the area. Now, as you may already know, I have been very into creating very lush, super full builds lately, and this one is no exception. I wasn't really sure how I was going to lay out my items in the area, so I just kind of started by outlining my path and then laying down items that I knew I wanted in the area. The first item I placed was the Visit Center because I knew I wanted it very close to both entrances to the biome since I didn't exactly place it in a central location in the valley, and I thought this placement would give my visitors a little bit easier navigation. You'll see shortly exactly how I styled the counters that I used for the gift table, but I started by just laying down one counter and then filling it in with various natural elements. When I did this, I tried to add a variety of shades of green and a variety of different heights and textures to add depth to the build. Before I got too crazy filling in every nook and cranny with the bushes and trees, I went behind the vine wall and the waterfall and laid down some muddy path. I did this because I didn't want any flowers or mushrooms to spawn back there because I knew I wouldn't be able to reach them. This next step was a fun one. I started my gift table by scattering some decorative items on the counter. I didn't really have a rhyme or reason to the items I chose or the placement of them, but I did try to stick with items that I thought really fit the style of the build or things that I thought could add height or texture. I filled in the rest of the open slots with gifts, which are usable items that I thought my friends might want to collect when they visit my valley. Since I really like a cluttered look, I didn't think one gift table was quite enough for me, so I went ahead and added a second gift table right next to the first one. I did add different decorative elements for a little bit of variety in the build, and then the gifts I chose to leave out for my friends are also different on this table. I really like the fact that I can also switch these out based on what I have available to share or what my visitors may need. I followed the same process to add some visual interest behind the second gift table, and I used the enchanted cage lanterns from Cinderella as well as the waterfall and the vine wall from the Lion King. I also laid down some more muddy path to keep things from spawning before I started placing the trees, which did require a little bit of adjusting, as you can see. As I continued down the pathway, I decided to go ahead and place an actual path to the mining vein. Now, this isn't something that I do in all of my builds, even though I do always try to make sure they're accessible, but I do mine for iron quite a bit in this biome, so I decided to really make them pop and make them very intentional in this build. I used the Fairy's Bloss home from the premium item shop at the end of the path. I'd been really excited to use this house in my valley, but I didn't really have any ideas on how I was going to use it in a build. Initially, I was kind of thinking that I would use it in the fairy tale forest that I'm building in the Forest of Valor, but when the Valley Visit Station was introduced, I quickly threw that idea out the window because it just fits so perfectly in this area. In a lot of my builds, I'm really consistent with the lighting that I'll use, but for this build, I really wanted to feel a little bit more whimsical, so I used a couple different lights in the area, and then I also threw in some of the dream fruit trees to add to the magic. When I started thinking about how I wanted to decorate this biome, I knew no matter what I put in the area, I wanted it to stay very lush, very full, and very green. So in the middle of my welcome center, I filled in that area with a different variety of trees and bushes of all different shapes, sizes, and colors to help me achieve that look. I also wanted to make navigation through the area as easy as possible, so I created a path using the small rocks, which has been one of my favorite tricks since I started playing the game. I wanted to create a water feature as a focal point in this area as well, so I used the muddy path to create more walkways, which in turn outlined the area where I wanted the focal point to be. I used the enchanted stone bench because I thought that the glimmer that radiates from it really added to the whimsical feel of the area. I then used the ancient fountain and I placed 2 of them kind of crisscross because I just really think it looks cool that way. And then lastly, I filled in the area with the luminescent flowers. I continued to use the ancient's wooden lamppost to illuminate the path on the other side, and then after I placed those down, I went back to the other side and filled in the areas with some smaller plants and trees and bushes to kind of give the overgrown feel I was going for. I have always struggled decorating around ponds, and this build was honestly no exception, but I did find that with the smaller plants that were included with the Eternity Isle expansion, it was a little bit easier for me than normal. Adding some of the water lilies gave the pond some color and some whimsy, and I really like how this turned out. Around the fairy's bloss home, I used the flower vine lamp for lighting. I then placed the papasan swing chair next to the house. And then after using the rocky terrain to create a path to the bridge that leads to the other side of the glade, I used a few select items to create a little reading nook with the papasan chair. I then just went through the entire area and filled in with plants to really fill in all of the blank spaces and really make the paths overgrown. There really isn't a whole lot to talk about as I go through the process of adding the different bushes and plants that I use to fill in the blank spaces of this area. So just chill with me and enjoy the music, and we'll visit here in a couple minutes. I wanted the area around the fairy bloss home to be a little bit different than the rest of the build, so I dropped quite a few of the luminescent flowers down in the area and I just kind of let them scatter randomly. I really hope that you've enjoyed my Welcome Center speed build. If you're interested in visiting my valley and seeing this build in person, maybe grabbing some goodies or checking out the rest of my valley, let me know in the comments below. I am ready to finish decorating in the valley and move on to Eternity Isle, and while I cannot guarantee any kind of a time frame, I can tell you that I do have some plans for both areas. And even though I feel like I also say this in every video, I am more than ready to get back to regular uploads, and I'm hoping that life will start to slow down a little bit, as I truly do miss all of my friends. I have a couple other videos that I have planned, but I am curious. Do you prefer speed builds or do you prefer valley tours? Let me know in the comments below. Anyway, that's all I had for you today, friends. Until next time, peace out.